Hello students, myself Mrs. Varsha Lembe, chemistry teacher. I am teaching in Deccan Education Society's Ramanbagh Junior College, Pune. Students, in the previous session, you have studied about the Werner's theory and classification of complexes on the basis of types of ligand and also on the basis of charge on the complex. So today we are going to discuss about the IUPAC nomenclature of coordination compound. So let's see the PowerPoint presentation. Now, while writing the IUPAC nomenclature of coordination compound, you must know the rules for naming the coordination compound. So let me discuss the rules for naming the coordination compound first, and then we try to write the IUPAC names of the coordination compound. See the first rule. While naming the complex ion or a neutral molecule, the name of ligand is written first and then the name of metal. Now students, all of you know about the coordination compound. In the previous lecture also you studied about this. In a coordination compound, there is a central metal atom or ion and which is surrounded by the ligand. Now suppose, let's see this example, CuNH3 2+ ion. In this complex ion, what is our rule says? While naming, we have to write the name of metal. Now in this complex ion, amine is the ligand. So first we write the amine ligand first, and then it is followed by the name of metal, that is a copper metal. Now see the second rule. After the name of metal, immediately we have to write its oxidation state in a Roman number in a parenthesis without any gap between the metal name and parenthesis. This is very, very important. What's the rule says? First, in the previous rule, we saw there is a, first we have to write the name of ligand, then we write the name of metal, and after the name of metal, immediately we have to write its oxidation state in a bracket, that is in a parenthesis. But what is important thing? There should not be any gap between the metal name and this parenthesis. Now in this example, same example, CuNH3 2+ complex, how we name it? First we write the name of ligand, tetraamine, then the name of metal copper, and there is no any gap. Immediately in a bracket we write its oxidation state in a Roman number, complete the bracket. Okay, this is the second rule. That is, from these two rules, what we see, just first we have to write the name of ligand, then we write the name of metal, and after the name of metal, immediately we have to write its oxidation state in a Roman number without any gap. Now see the third rule. This is regarding the type of ligand. See, suppose there is a anionic ligands are present in a complex. You know, anionic ligand means ligand which carries the negative charge. If anionic ligands are there, then while writing the IUPAC name, we have to change its ending IDE to O and ATE to ATO. This rule is applicable only if the ligand is an anionic ligand, that is the ligand which carries the negative charge. Now these are some examples here. Bromide ligand, chloride ligand, fluoride, iodide. If you observe, here the ending is IDE. It changes to IDE to O, means bromide to bromo, chloride to chloro, fluoride to fluoro, like this. Okay. Now see this sulfate ligand, SO4 2- ligand, ending is ATE. It changes to ATO. Okay, sulfate to sulfato, nitrate to nitrato. In the similar way, carbonate to carbanato. Only these two are the specific examples. See this NO2- and ONO- ligand. Both are the same ligand, NO2-, but the linkage is different one here. The common name is nitrite ligand. But while writing the IUPAC name, say this first ligand, here nitrogen is the donor atom. Nitrogen is bonded to the central metal atom. So while writing the IUPAC name, we name it as a nitro because here nitrogen is the donor atom. While the second example, ONO-, the common name is nitrite. But while writing the IUPAC name, It is a nitrito because here oxygen is the donor atom. Oxygen is bonded to the central metal atom. Now see the one more example. Thiocyanate ligand. SCN minus and NCS minus. Now in this thiocyanate ligand, if sulfur is the donor atom, then we have to name it as a thiocyanato. And if nitrogen is the donor atom, we have to name it as a isothiocyanato. Just a little difference is there, but this is very, very important. You have to see which is the donor atom. Okay, this is the third rule. Now see the fourth rule. This is related with the, we have to see whether this complex is a cationic, anionic and a neutral complexes. Students, all of you know how to recognize the type of complex. If cationic complex is there, you know this complex ion carries the positive charge. Neutral complex means there is no any charge on that complex. And anionic complex means the complex which carries the negative charge. Okay. Now, first this rule is specified in case of cationic and a neutral complex, we have to write its name as it is. Means suppose in a complex copper metal is there, while naming the IUPAC name, we write the name copper as it is. But if the complex is an anionic complex, that is the complex which carries the negative charge, then in that case, the metal ends with ATE. Name of metal we have to change to ATE. See these some examples here. Aluminium. If suppose aluminium metal is present in the complex, while writing the IUPAC name, we have to change its ending to ATE. That is, we have to write it as a aluminate. In the similar way, cobalt, cobaltate. Gold, the symbol for gold is AU. While writing the IUPAC name, we write it as a aurate. Manganese, magnate. Platinum, platinate. Okay, in this way, this rule is there. That is what is important here. We have to first identify whether this complex is a cationic, anionic or a neutral complex, and accordingly you have to apply this rule. Now see the next rule. The name of complex is one single word because when we write the IUPAC name, there should not be any gap between the different ligand names and also between the ligand name and name of metal, because you know that if in a complex many of the times two ligands should be there, then in that case there should not be any gap between the ligand names and also between the ligand name and name of metal. It should be one single word. Now see the sixth rule. If in a complex more than one ligand of the same type is present, एकच ligand आहे पण तो खूप वेळा असेल, one ligand, more than one ligand of the same type is there, then in that case while naming it we have to use the prefix. If two ligands are there, we have to use the prefix di, 3 for tri, 4 for tetra, 5 for penta, 6 for hexa and so on. Now see this example, CuNH3 2 plus ion. This is a complex. While naming it, what's the rule says? If suppose one ligand, one type of ligand is there, but many times it is. So there are 4 amine ligands. So while naming, we have to use a prefix tetra. So we use here tetraamine. Now see the next one. When in a complex 2 or more different types of ligands are present. In the previous example, previous rule, there was only one type of ligand is there. But if suppose 2 different types of ligands are present in the same complex, then we have to follow the alphabetical order of the name of ligand. See the example. Suppose let me consider in a complex 2 ligands are there. One is a aqua ligand, that is a H2O, and another one is a chloro ligand. There are 4 aqua ligands, so tetra aqua name should be there. And 2 chlorine ligands means the name is dichloro. Now, while writing the IUPAC name, we have to follow the alphabetical order. Means here tetra aqua is written first and then it is followed by the dichloro. That is, we follow here the alphabetical order of the name of ligand, not the prefix. Now see the next one. If the ligand itself contains the numerical prefix in its name, then we have to use the prefix bis for 2, tris for 3, tetrakis for 4 and so on. Listen carefully. Ligand itself contain the numerical prefix in its name. म्हणजे त्या लिगॅनच्या नावातच जर नंबर असेल. For example, ethylene diamine. The ligand, how we write the ethylene diamine? En twice. That is, in the ligand name itself it contain the numerical prefix. Then in this case, while writing the IUPAC name, we have to use the prefix bis for 2, tris for 3 and tetrakis for 4. And one more important thing, we have to write the name of ligand in a parenthesis, that is in a bracket, so that suppose ethylene diamine ligand is there, how we write it? Bis ethylene diamine should be in a bracket. Now these are some common ligands in coordination compound. While writing the IUPAC name, how we write that we see here. Suppose ammonia ligand is there. All of you know this is a neutral ligand. But while writing the IUPAC name, we write it as a amine. Carbon monoxide, we write it as a carbonyl ligand. H2O, we write a aqua ligand. And ethylene diamine, it is a neutral ligand. There is a gap, ethylene diamine, but while writing the IUPAC name, there should not be any gap space in between the word ethylene and diamine. It should be one single word. These are the rules that we discuss now. Now, let me try to write the IUPAC names of some complexes. Now, I just here divide the complex into different categories so that it is easy for you to write the IUPAC names. Now, let me see first the anionic type of complexes. Students, all of you know anionic complexes means the complex which carries the negative charge. Just I revise the rules all in short. What is our rule says? First is we have to write the name of ligand first. Then we write the name of metal. After the name of metal, we write its oxidation state in a bracket without any gap. Okay. These are the common rule we apply to all type of complexes. So now see, this is an anionic complex. In case of this complex, first we have to write the name of ligand. There are 4 cyanide ligands, means we write a tetra. Cyanide, but we write it as a tetracyano. Why? Because we saw one rule, that is in case of anionic ligand, we have to change the ending IDE to O, so that cyanide it becomes a cyano. So we write it here as a tetracyano. Then the name of metal, but it ending change with ATE. Why? Because this is an anionic complex. And what was our rule? That is, in case of anionic complex, the name of metal ends with ATE. So that here we write tetracyano, then nickelate, then its oxidation state in a bracket without any gap between the ligand name and this parenthesis, and then we write the word iron. Now, here what is important rule? You must know how to find out the oxidation state. Now, in 11th standard, you studied in the redox reaction chapter how to find out the oxidation state. There was one rule, that is sum of the oxidation states of all atoms in an ion is equal to the charge on that ion. Means suppose in this example, we have to calculate the oxidation state of nickel here. Let me consider it as X. Okay. You know that cyanide, it carries the -1 charge. There are 4 cyanide ligand, means -4. X minus 4 is equal to -2. When -4 comes to the right hand side, it becomes a +4. -2 plus 4 plus 2. Means oxidation state of nickel is +2. In this way, you have to calculate the oxidation state. Write down in bracket and then write down the word iron. Why? Because this is there, it carries the charge. Okay, now we will see the second example. CO, C2O4 thrice 3 minus iron. We apply similar, whatever the rules we discussed in the first example, we apply all the rules here. This is a bidentate ligand, oxalate ligand. There are 3 oxalate ligand, means we write the word tri. Is it clear? Tri, then oxalato, because this is an anionic ligand, trioxalato. Then the name of metal ends with ATE, trioxalato cobaltate. then its oxidation state in a bracket, third, and the word ion. Okay, you got it? How to calculate the oxidation state of cobalt here? It is a bidentate ligand. C2O4 minus carries -2 charge. There are 3 oxalate ions, means -6. -6 plus 3, it becomes a -3. So that oxidation state of cobalt is here +3. Now see the third example, FeCN6 4 minus ion. There are 6 cyanide ligand, hexacyano, then the name of metal ferrate, oxidation state in a bracket, it's a 2, and ion. This is regarding the anionic complexes. Now see the second type of complex, that is a compound containing complex anion and the metal cation. The complex anion, see this first compound, students, Na3CONO2 6. If you see this compound, you see it to be a neutral compound, but when we dissociate this compound, it will get dissociated into Na plus ion and CONO2 6 3 minus ion. Got it? Na3, there are 3 Na plus ion, 3 sodium atoms, so that it will get dissociated into 3 Na plus, and this complex carries a -3 charge. Means this type of compound contain the complex anion, because this complex carries the negative charge, so it is a complex anion, and the metal cation because it carries the positive charge. Why it is necessary? Because we have to apply all the rules here. Now sodium is outside the bracket, so we write as it is sodium. And then we have to write the name of ligand first. There are 6 nitro ligand, so we write the name hexanitro. Then we have to write the name of metal, cobalt. But why it is cobalt or it is a cobaltate? It depends upon the type of complex. It is an anionic complex, so that here the metal ends change with ATE, so that we write here sodium hexanitro cobaltate, then its oxidation state in a bracket, that is a third. If you observe here, there is no any gap between the name this complex name. Sodium is outside the bracket. Whatever the part inside this square bracket, it should be one single word. This is very, very important here. Okay. Now this is a neutral molecule. We know some of the oxidation states of all atom in a neutral molecule is equal to 0. So we apply this rule. Na, we have to know sodium is an alkali metal. Its oxidation state is +1. There are 3 Na, means +3. Let me consider for a cobalt as a X and NO2 as a -1. Got it? +3 -6 -3. So for cobalt it becomes a +3. In this way you have to calculate the oxidation state. Now see the second example, K3AlC2O4 thrice. Potassium is outside the bracket, so we write as it is. No need to changing the ending here. Listen carefully. This is outside the bracket. When we change the name of metal ends with ATE, when that is in a anionic complex, then we change its ending to ATE. This potassium is outside the bracket, so we write as it is potassium. Then the name of ligand, there are 3 oxalate ligand, so we write a trioxalato. Then the name of metal aluminate and oxidation state in a bracket, that is a 3, and it should be in a Roman number again. Then see the third example, Na3AlF3. Sodium, it is outside the bracket, sodium as it is. And then hexafluoro, it is an anionic ligand, so we change the ending IDE to O, hexafluoro. Then aluminate, its oxidation state 3rd. Okay. Now see the cationic complexes. You know cationic complexes means the complexes which carries the positive charge. The common rule we apply here. First we write the name of ligand. There are 4 amine ligand, so we write a tetraamine. Then the name of metal, copper, but here we are not going to change its ending. We write the name of metal as it is. Why? Because this is a cationic complex. In case of cationic complex, no need to change the ending of metal. We write the name of metal as it is. So we write here tetraamine, copper, then its oxidation state in a bracket. You calculate it. How to calculate already I told you many times, this is a neutral molecule. Ammonia carries the zero charge. So whatever the charge on this complex, that is the oxidation state of copper here. So write down in bracket oxidation state of copper and then put the word ion. This is important. If you forget to write the ion, then it is wrong. Okay. In case of neutral molecule only, no need to write the word ion. In case of cationic and anionic complexes, we have to add the word ion. Now see the second example. FeH2O5 NCS square bracket complete raised to +2. Now in this complex there are two types of ligands are present. One is a aqua ligand and second one is a isothiocyanate ligand. Why? Because here nitrogen is the donor atom. So its name is isothiocyanate ligand. Now we follow here alphabetical order of ligand. Aqua comes first. So we write the name of water ligand first. Then we write the name of isothiocyanate ligand and then the name of metal. So our name becomes penta aqua, then isothiocyanate. Why? Because it is an anionic ligand. Then the name of metal iron, then its oxidation state in a bracket and then word add iron. Okay. All of you know how to calculate this water. We consider a neutral molecule. There is no any charge on water. Just consider the charge of isothiocyanate ion. It's a -1 while calculating the oxidation state of Fe. Okay. Now see the next example. Platinum ethylene diamine En twice SCN twice bracket raised to 2. If you observe here two ligands are there. One is a bis ethylene diamine ligand. We saw one rule. When the ligand itself contains the numerical prefix, then we have to use the prefix bis for 2. That we apply rule here. Okay. And second ligand is a thiocyanate ligand is this one. Why? Because here sulfur is the donor atom. Sulfur donates its electron pair to the central metal atom. So while naming, first we write the word bis. Then what is important? We have to write the name of ligand in a bracket. Bis ethylene diamine, no any gap. Immediately we write the second name of ligand, dithiocyanate, then the name of metal platinum, oxidation state in a bracket. If you observe this IUPAC name, there is no any gap between the name of metal, between two ligand names. Okay. Now see the next type, compound containing complex cation and a complex anion. Now see this example, platinum Br2 NH3 4 bracket complete outside the bracket Br2. If this complex is dissociated, it will get dissociate into Br minus ion, bromide minus ion, and the complex carries the +2 charge along with 2 Br minus ion. That is, this compound contain the complex cation because it carries the positive charge, and this Br minus, it is a anion. Okay. Now we apply the rule here. There are two ligands, bromine and amine ligand. A comes first. So we write first regarding the amine ligand. There are 4 amine ligand. So we write a tetraamine. Then dribromo. Yes. Then the name of metal platinum. Then its oxidation state in a bracket. 4 bracket complete. It should be one single word. And then we have to write the name of metal, that is a bromide. Yes, it is a outside the bracket. So we write as it is, bromide, Br minus, it's an anion. Now see the second example, CONH3 CO3 Cl. Now in this complex ion, we apply the same rule. Now you know this. First is a amine ligand, pentaamine, then carbonate ligand, carbonato. Why? Because it's an anionic ligand. The ending change with ATE to ATO. Then the name of metal cobalt. Calculates oxidation state. Write down in bracket. And then the word chloride. Okay. How to calculate oxidation state? Amine is a neutral molecule. Carbonate carries the -2 charge. And chlorine is also having a -1 charge. -2, -1, -3. So cobalt will get the +3 charge. Now see the second example, next example. Cobalt H2O NH3 5 bracket complete, I3 means iodide anion is there. Now pentaamine, amine and aqua, two ligands, A type of ligands are here. See, aqua and amine, but Am come first, so we write pentaamine, then aqua, then the name of metal cobalt, and then its oxidation state in a bracket, and then the word iodide. If you observe all these three examples, just we write the name of metal as it is. We are not going to change its ending ATE. Yes, we write a cobalt as it is. Why? Because this is a complex cation. It carries the positive charge. That's why it is necessary to see whether this complex carries the positive charge, negative charge, or it is a neutral molecule. Now see the last type of complexes, that is the neutral complexes. Neutral complexes means there is no any charge on this complex. Say this complex, CO, NO2 thrice, NH3 thrice. There are 3 nitro ligand and 3 amine ligand. Now first we write the name of amine ligand first, then we write the name of nitro ligand. There are 3 amine ligands, so triamine, then trinitro, yes, trinitro, then the name of metal cobalt as it is. Why? Because what was our rule? In case of cationic and neutral complexes, the name of metal we have to write as it is. So we write a cobalt as it is, and in bracket write down its oxidation state, and it should be in a one single word. Now see the second example, FeCO5. In this case there are a carbonyl ligand, there are 5 carbonyl ligand, and this is the neutral ligand. There is no any charge, so Fe got the 0 charge here. So while naming the IUPAC name, what we write? Pentacarbonyl, then the name of metal iron, and its oxidation state in a bracket 0. Still it is a 0. Write down in bracket 0. Then see the last example, rhodium, NH3 thrice, SCN thrice. Here there are 3 amine ligand and 3 isothiocyanate ligand. Amine ligand comes first by the alphabetical order. So triamine, then thiocyanate. Why? Because sulfur is the donor atom. Then the name of metal rhodium, and then its oxidation state in a bracket. So in this way we discuss this IUPAC nomenclature. Hello students. So in this way, in today's session, we discussed about how to write the IUPAC names of the coordination compound. Thank you.